Shh.
Hi everyone and welcome to episode 61 of the Talk is Cheap show. Hope you're all well, healthy and COVID free. Thanks to everyone for tapping in. We truly appreciate your support as usual. We've got another great show lined up for you today, including a very special guest who I'm looking forward to introducing you to. But before we go any further, let me start by introducing or reacquainting you with my co-host, show analyst, YouTube content creator, former professional footballer, turned presenter and football academic, Mr. Curtis Shaw from Curtis Shaw TV in house. What are you saying, bro?
Yeah, man, what's happening? That intro is legendary, you know. I might have to drop you a check for that one. I'm telling you,
Mad, isn't it?
that's a mad intro, but yeah, I'm good, man. Big up, Laurie.
We love the intro thing on this show, man.
Yeah, man. Big up Rants as well, man. Big up Rants for coming through.
Come on, man.
And also appearing on the Talk is Cheap show today for the very first time, it is my great honor and pleasure to introduce for the first time on AFTV Talk is Cheap show, a man who some might consider controversial and opinionated, someone who is also very honest, forthright, straightforward, tells it like it is also very entertaining and someone who is very knowledgeable about football. He goes by the name of Rants, and he's a big Man United fan, and he's in the house. Big digital round of applause for Rants in the house.
Yeah, I'm good, bro. Man's loving them intros. Man might need that on the audio file, you know, like that. Yeah, man.
Oh, man, it's great,
I'm happy to be here, bro. Happy to be here, man.
Yeah, man. You know what? Let's start by Rants just telling the people a little bit about yourself, how you got to support United, and a little bit about your channel, just very briefly.
United is, I just inherited the football club from my uncle. Know what I mean? Rest in peace, but he's not with us no more. But that was our thing, innit? Growing up, that was our connection. My mum's brother, that's how me and him kind of bonded, innit? Like, he was a football coach, I played football, and he just kind of took me under his wing, and he was very much, everything was Manchester United. If United lost, he wouldn't even answer his phone. Like, it was one of them ones. So
Yeah.
like, I just inherited the football club from him, innit? Obviously people know X is my brother, he supports Tottenham, which is my mum's club, but my uncle was like, nah, you're not supporting them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was one of them ones where, yeah, I just kind of inherited the football club from him, and then it's just always been just United. So that just makes the club even more special for me, innit? Because that's the one thing that I've got that he gave me that I've still got now. Do you know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's a bit of a mad thing. So like it's always been that, bruv. And then obviously with my channel, I've always covered like loads of different topics, but I don't know, I love my football. Do you know what I mean? Play football at a high level. And I love my football. So naturally, when you're more passionate about something, I mean, the best side of you tends to come out in it. So I've done loads of different types of content in my time, probably like 4.5 years now in the game. But the football content's the content that resonates the most with my kind of people, because that's what I love the most, innit? So yeah, man. So yeah, that's just kind of how it come around, and that's how it's doing. And yeah, right now, I've had a lot of fun recently, innit? My team's been top of the league. They ain't no more. And I don't know when it's going to happen again. So I can say that I made the most of it, you know, like that. So
I've been content on and off for years, man. You do a great job, man. So big up.
Respect, man.
Looking forward to hearing what you got to say. Okay, so moving swiftly on then. Those of you who are familiar with the show will know that the first segment of the show is called our news and notes, which is where we look at headlines making, stories and making them, for instance, our last show. So I guess the biggest story hitting the headlines would have been the Frank Lampard sacking, Chelsea. So Frank, he's been in the job, 2 seasons? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Season and a half.
Yeah.
Last year, he took Chelsea to a creditable 4th place. They also got to the final of the FA Cup, which of course they lost to Arsenal. And before the start of this season, he was given a big war chest of over 200 million to spend on players. But after a decent start, it started to falter, which incidentally was round about the time, innit, Curtis, when we played them on Boxing Day.
Yeah.
Poor run, and it's resulted in him losing in his job. So we'll start with Rants, seeing as he's our guest. Just very briefly, what did you think of the Frank Lampard sacking?
I thought they should have done it sooner, to be honest. Bro, like, I'm gonna be honest, bro. Like, you know what I mean? I've got no time for this fence sitting. Anyone defending Frank Lampard here doesn't know football, innit? Like, it's a joke. He shouldn't have got the job anyway. And they didn't sack him soon enough. I think they've still sacked him 5 points off the top 4, still in the Champions League, and can still get top 4. And Chelsea probably will still get that now they've got rid of him. If they kept him, they wouldn't have, innit? I think it's very clear that his man management is not up to scratch, and he's tactically like inept, bro. Like, it is what it is. He didn't even do a good job at Derby. You know what I mean? So when you look at it, he inherited them, if I remember correctly, 6th in the league, and then my man got promoted, didn't even get promoted. You know what I mean? And he finished 6th as well, so he didn't even improve them.
Yeah, he got
like,
to the yeah, and then,
he's an absolute fraud, mate. That's why I call him the Kings Road Tim Sherwood, mate. You know what I mean? That's what it is, an absolute fraud, man. Like, and honestly, I think that he should be a Sky pundit going forward, because his press conferences are decent. That's about it, innit? He's a terrible football manager, and I don't think he should get another job at the top level. Like, honestly. So I think that they did the right thing in sacking him. Yeah, I think he fully deserved it. And I think he goes down. He's got the worst win percentage under Roman Abramovich era in Chelsea management. So no, they sacked him for the right reasons, man. I think that they handled it well, though. Like, I mean, he's the first manager that they've come out and made a statement and thanked him and stuff. Normally they just throw you out the back door. Do you know what I mean? And he got like a proper eulogy, like Lampard's finished. You know what I mean? So it is what it is, man. Like, I think they done it the respectful way, and they done it after a win as well in the cup, instead of like throwing him out after a loss. I think that they handled it well, and that's Chelsea don't usually handle these things well. So I think he deserved everything he got, to be honest. I don't know how you can defend the guy.
Okay, Curtis, we've heard Rants, very straightforward and front views there. What's your thoughts on the Lampard sacking, very briefly?
No, I think they were right to sack him. You know, when he spent more money than any manager in world football in the summer. Roman doesn't give you that kind of money with no strings attached. If you're spending 200 million, he needs to see a title challenge. They're mid-table. You look at Havertz, he's done nothing. Ziyech getting injured. Timo Werner hasn't scored for 12, 13 games. It's not going to happen, is it? I think, they're floating around mid-table. There's a reason that they've won so many trophies over the years, and that's being ruthless. And you ain't got time for sympathy and emotion at that level. And like Rant said, that was probably the most respectful sacking I've seen at Chelsea. Roman even wrote a personal statement thanking him. He never does that. He never does that. So yeah, man, I think he was very lucky to get that job in the first place, man. When you see other top footballers, in League Two and getting jobs in the conference and that, he was lucky to get the Chelsea job after he ultimately failed at Derby as well. So, no arguments, man.
Okay, second story making headlines, certainly from an Arsenal perspective, would have been the signing of Martin Ødegaard from Real Madrid. I'm going to start with Curtis on this one, just very briefly, because I'm conscious of time. What was your thoughts on the signing? Attacking, creative midfield playmaker. A lot of people would say that's what we need right now. What's your thoughts?
It's hard to say, because ultimately we with these signings, we've seen these signings before, like a signing from La Liga for 6 months. It might take him 3 months to settle, and then he's almost out the door. It's like, we compare the Man United Bruno signing. They needed a creative player. They bought a top player. He transformed their season. Is Ødegaard going to give us that type of impact? You wouldn't think so, It's an addition, I suppose. It's an addition. It can help Smith Rowe, because Smith Rowe can't play that role every single game, So it's an okay signing. I'm not dancing from the rooftops. It's a 22-year-old on loan for 6 months who hasn't pulled up trees in world football. He's a bit of a wonder kid, some Freddie Adu business, 15, 16. He's going to be a world beater. Gone for Holland. He had one good year for Sociedad. Hasn't really done it at Madrid. Zidane, brought him back and hasn't played him. So it's difficult to say, man. I suppose I'm happy to see someone come through the door, and if he can help us, then fine. But time will tell with him, really.
Rants, do you know anything about him? I know you know your football. Have you heard?
I know a lot about that guy. I know a lot about him from when Real Madrid signed him. He was 16 years old. his dad talks a lot. I think his dad was his age, and his dad was saying that, like, if they sign him, he's got to train with the first team. He trained with the first team. They're like, yeah, he's not good enough in it. And then basically he was meant to be like this massive wonder kid. And then he's been floating around, going on loan. And then he just kind of resurfaced last season after not really hearing about him for years. He's improved. He's a good player. He reminds me a bit of, like, he tries to play a bit Ozil-esque in it, but like, I don't know. I feel like he takes a bit more touches on the ball than Ozil, though, innit? He likes a dribble. He's decent. I think that if he plays the way he plays in Spain, though, they'll kick lumps out of him here, though, innit? It's one of them ones. I think he needs to release the ball a bit quicker, but I think it's a good addition, but I think the only winner here is Real Madrid. You know what I mean? I think that Real Madrid will either, they're using Arsenal as a shop window here to sell him on and make some money, or Arsenal are going to toughen him up a little bit, and then he'll go back to Spain and he'll have a decent career. But the fact that there's no like clause to buy, like, it's just like, I don't know how Arsenal benefit from this unless like he can play maybe in the Europa League or something like that. And I don't get it, bro. And as Curtis was saying, 3 months to settle, maybe, because he is European, I think that he will settle a bit better in it. Them Scandinavians can they can deal with a bit of the rough and tumble. Like they're decent. They got decent physiques, them guys. Do you know what I mean? So I think the physical side he won't struggle too much with, but the pace of the game he might struggle with. Yeah. So I'm not really sure. And also, where'd you play him? I don't think that, when I look at your manager, I don't think your manager plays him centrally. I think your manager's probably going to play him out wide.
Well, there is a vacuum there at number 10 position. So I would have thought anyway that he was being brought in to fill that berth and to compete with Emil Smith-Rowe for that place. But we'll see how it goes. Thanks, guys, for that. Just a couple other things. I think we should mention Aubameyang. As we all know, Arsenal fans will know, he's been out last couple of games. Yeah, a lot of conjecture as to why he was missing. We just heard personal issues. And that led to some very lurid stuff. Now we know. I'm glad we've been informed by the man himself. Yeah, that the personal issue was to do with his mum, who's not very well. So I'm sure I'll speak on behalf of all of us here on this show, as well as all the Arsenal fans, in fact, football fans around the world, wishing him and his mum, hope his mum makes a full and speedy recovery and that he can return to first team action very soon, hopefully this weekend. Just on a lighter note, the Milan derby, I'm sure you would have seen it. But the talking point wasn't so much the football, man. It was the two juggernauts on the pitch. Yeah. Lukaku versus Zlatan and some of the stuff that was kicking off there, man. It's quite entertaining. So I'm just going to ask you very briefly, man. Curtis, Lukaku or Zlatan, who you got?
It's mad, you know, because I heard Zlatan's like a black belt in some sort of martial arts.
He is Taekwondo. He's like a third dan or something.
You know what I mean? I felt like Lukaku was on roadman vibes. He wanted to scrap, but Zlatan might be doing some karate kick round his head and that. So it's mad still. It was entertaining though. I enjoyed watching it. You know,
from heavyweights you got.
Boy, man. It's a tricky one, you know. I don't know. One man's trying to punch, man. The next man's doing kung fu kicks. I don't know, man. It's a tricky one. I don't know.
I know you like your boxing, man. I know you like your boxing and your combat sports. Who you got in that one, bro?
Bro, Zlatan all day, bro. Like, bro, I tell man already, I've never seen a roadman beat a proper fighter, bro. It just doesn't happen. You know that, man. Like, road fighters are too sloppy in it, and they telegraph everything. And the thing is, Zlatan's been a black belt since he was 17, bro. So like, man's like had a black belt for over 20 years in it. And some of the madness I've seen this guy do, you don't want smoke with him. And also, like, man's Yugoslav and that. You see, them man are bad boys, bro. Like, you just don't want it with them kind of guys. Do you know what I'm saying? Any man that's from real war-torn countries and that, bro, even if they didn't have belts, I'd be worried. You know them, man. But yeah, nah, you don't want it with Zlatan, innit? Like, you just don't. We don't want it with Zlatan, bro. I've seen Lukaku be defeated by a football before. I've seen man trip over it and that, but I'm not really trying to see him fight Zlatan, bro. Like, honestly,
of course they were teammates at Man United.
And Zlatan used to stick it on him there as well. Didn't you see, bro? Like, Zlatan come out in an interview and was like, "Yeah, I told Lukaku I'll give him £50 for every good touch he has in the game." Yeah, I heard that. He'd been winding him up. You know what I mean? So I just think that as a footballer, I think he doesn't respect him in it, so he winds him up, kind of thing. And that's just what it is. Even in his statement on Twitter, he was like, "Listen, he said something about footballers, and he was like, yeah, like some are better than others, and that kind of just kind of indirecting him, kind of say, yo, you're kind of whack, innit?" And I think that there's no professional respect. Football.
Well, to be fair to Romelu Lukaku, he did get the better in that particular game.
He did. He had the last laugh.
More than they ended up winning, so I guess he had the last laugh there.
But he still ain't won no trophies in his career, innit? And Zlatan's won like nearly everything, innit? So Zlatan kind of just like,
yeah, we can't get away from that. That is true.
Yeah.
But yeah, listen, thanks for that, guys. Moving swiftly on then. So another regular feature of the show is where we look back on Arsenal's last game since the last show. So we're going to do that very briefly. We're going to start with Curtis on this one. So there were the 2 games since the last show. Both of them were against Southampton. The first one in the FA Cup was a loss, 1-0 loss. Disappointing loss, that one. We did play a what I call a full-strength side. Southampton did play a full-strength side. We didn't play very well. We got beaten, deservedly so, although we did play a little bit better in the second half. Yeah, not very good, really. I was disappointed. I thought we went out rather tamely, man. I mean, especially given us we were holders. Curtis, what was your thoughts on that game? Just very briefly.
Nah, I didn't like that game at all. Like, listen, I understand in football you have to rotate at times, innit? You can't play the same 11 every week. But I think sometimes, you know, you can take one defender out, one midfielder, one winger. He changed the whole front 4 in that game. You know, 3 of those players were out of form. Pepe, Willian, Eddie and Ketia. Against the Southampton team that, listen, we might think we're bigger and badder than them. They're above us in the table. You got to have that respect for them. And, you know, I kind of think we threw that game away. I think the manager's got to take a lot of responsibility for that. It's not like, you know, if you're up there at the top of the league, you might look at the FA Cup as a little, I'm not that interested in that. But when you're mid-table, you know, the FA Cup to me, that rescued our season last year. So I would have liked to have seen us win that game. And I think Mikel Arteta, look, he was right to rotate, but I think he rotated too much. And I think he cost us the opportunity of winning that game. So I was very disappointed with that game.
Yeah, myself included. I mean, I'm old school. So, you know, I love the FA Cup. And then like you said, man, we've been very successful in that competition in the past. Record amount of wins. So, yeah, disappointing. But 3 days later, we played them again in the Premier League, and that was altogether different. This time, he did play a full-strength side, and you saw the difference. We ran out rather comfortable winners in the end. I was very impressed with the performance. 3-1 win. What's your thoughts on that one, Curtis?
And see, that was more like it. We had a proper team out, and there you go. And the funny thing about that game, even when we went 1-0 down, I felt like we can still win this game. You know, you see, we opened Southampton up in the first minute. Lacazette should have scored. And it was a good performance, man. Thomas Partey makes the difference. Without him, our midfield is basic, you know, at best. And when you put him in there, it makes a difference, you know. Dare I say it, presence, as you would say, Rants. Presence in the midfield.
It's important.
You know what I mean? It's important. You need power in there, you know, and he brings that for us. So it was a good win, man. Very good win. Obviously,
it would be remiss of me not to ask Rants about his team's 2 games in the last week. First, you had that, what I would have thought was a very good win against Liverpool in the FA Cup. It was a good game as well, entertaining game.
It was. It had a bit of everything in it, but it just made me more disappointed that we never took it to them in the league. Do you know what I'm saying? Because I thought they were there for the taking, man. I still think Liverpool are there for the taking, man. I think teams have figured Liverpool out, and I think that it's going stale as well over there, man. I think it's been too long without wholesale changes, and I think they're finished in it as a top team, bro. Like, I genuinely do, in it. I think they're not going to spend enough to kind of keep up the momentum. When you're on top, you need to keep improving. You need to keep signing players. I think they've had the same front 3 like the last 4 years, and it's just dead now, isn't it? So it was a good victory there. Sheffield United.
It's interesting because as good as that win was, then a few days after that, you had the Sheffield United.
But again, United, isn't it?
Ridiculous.
That's United, though. Like, honestly, like, as much as I troll people, yeah, like, the one thing as I am is I'm honest, innit? United have been overachieving this season. Like, we haven't been good. Like, we actually haven't been good. Like when you watch the games, and because I have to do the watch-alongs, I watch these 90-minute games, and we're the second best team in most of these games, but we're winning these games. You know what I mean? And that's what it is. And if you're someone that analyzes the game and you actually look at the data, United are 6th in the league, yeah, on goal difference. We're literally 5th in the league in terms of like the points that we really should have based on how the games have gone. But then we've been top of the league, bro. Like we've been overachieving. Like it's madness when you look at it. Like, oh, we've got a +10 goal difference and we're 2nd in the league. That don't make no sense. You know what I'm saying?
Is it 14 game unbeaten run in the Premier League?
But there you go. But at the same time, we got a negative goal difference at home. So it's like, you see what I mean about the numbers? They don't add up. They don't really add up. If you know the game and you actually analyze the football, we haven't been good. We got battered against Southampton in the first half and somehow turned it around from 2-0 down. We got battered against West Ham in the first half. Look, we're losing 1-0. They missed a sitter in the second half and then we just turned it around. Fulham game, Pogba scores an absolute worldie out of nowhere. Do you know what I mean? Same with the Burnley game. Pogba just out here scoring worldies and that. Even the Liverpool game, Bruno scored a free kick. It was just mad, innit? Like individual brilliance has been kind of papering over the cracks that have always been there for us, innit? Like we haven't improved that much on last season, even though we are where we are, innit? But the real numbers tell you that it's just individual players really bailing us out, and that's not sustainable, innit? So it's going to be a tough end to the season, bro.
Okay, so that kind of segues nicely into what our main topic of discussion on the show is going to be today. Let me just set the backdrop. So, big game at the weekend. We played United earlier on in the season. We beat them. Like Rants said, United are doing well. What are they? Currently 2nd in the table.
Yeah.
40 points. He played 20 games, won 12, lost 4. All of your losses, incidentally, have been at home, haven't they, this season? You're playing.
Our home record's the worst. I think I remember it. I don't think we've had a worse record in the Premier League at home.
Whereas Arsenal, where are we? We're currently 9th in the table, 30 points, played 20 games, won 9, lost 8, drawn 3. So we're not, we're on a good run, but overall we're still, I would say, slightly underwhelmed with the way things have gone in the league this season, if we're being totally honest. Although we are only 6-7 points off the top 4 places. So that's kind of set the backdrop for the game, massive game. And I guess the question is, certainly from an Arsenal perspective, is it repeat or revenge? You know what I mean? So let's kick off with our guests, Rants. So this game coming up, how do you see it playing out? What type of team do you think Ole will play, and what do you think the formation and the tactics will be?
I think the team we're going to play, we'll play De Gea in goal. I think he'll play Lindelof. Lindelof will come back. He rested Lindelof. Maguire, Wan-Bissaka, sure. He'll play Freddie McTominay in the pivot. Pogba off the left, probably. Bruno, Rashford on the right, and then Cavani up top probably is how he's going to go. I just think that it's going to be a boring game, if I'm honest. Like, I could see this game being... After we've lost this game, I could see Ole not wanting to lose this one, innit? So I can see United being very defensive, playing counter-attacking, and then Arsenal ain't really a front foot team either. So I think it's going to be a snooze fest, if I'm honest. I think it could be a 0-0.
Oh, man.
Legit. I think it could be a 0-0.
After his approach will be to the game.
Ole's approach will be the same as it always is for every game, bro. Like, keep it compact and then try and nick it. You know them ones, like, and I don't think Arsenal are going to give us too many openings, bro. Defensively, they're all right. And I think that they sit quite deep in it. They don't play a high line. So it's just going to be one of them ones where I think it's going to be, if there is a winner, it's going to be down to either individual brilliance from us or a mistake from us, innit? Like, that's just what it is. But I don't.
You know, I wanted to ask you there. Obviously, I heard you say Lindelof, like not Eric Bailly, because Bailly and Maguire looks a way better partnership to me.
Ole don't like that. Ole likes Lindelof, innit? Like that's what it is. That's Ole's guy, innit? Lindelof, McTominay, like that's his guys, innit, bruv? It's dead, but that's what Ole likes, innit? So I wouldn't play either of them. But get me, I'm not the manager, so
what
just
do you make
based on what the manager likes.
What do you make of Ole? I know you've been on Ole's case, but obviously you're up there in the league, man. Are you a little more patient with him?
Nah, I still think he's a rubbish manager, but I think I think he's a good tactician. I mean, he's a rubbish tactician, but he's a good man manager, innit? The players want to play for him. The players are happy. I've been told, do you know what I mean, that the relationship he's got with his players is more like he's one of the players. It's not like a kind of authoritarian manager thing. And I think that they like him, innit? And they're playing for him, but the players look lost on the football pitch. I saw it yesterday against Sheffield United. He made the substitutions too late. He made the wrong substitutions. Like, he's just not a good football. He's just not a good football manager, innit? He's not. But
you know what, Rand? Good players. If I could just interject there, you do make an interesting point, because I was saying to Curtis when we discussed what we were going to talk about this week, and we were talking about Ole, and I kind of likened to him to a bit, you know, when Ranieri was at Leicester. And because it kind of gives me that same kind of vibe, because when Ranieri was at Leicester, he couldn't be called by any stretch of the imagination a tactical genius.
Yeah.
But what he did, he was a good man manager. He got on well with the players, allowed them to express themselves.
Yeah.
They obviously got on well with him, and it worked. I think it's a similar kind of thing with Ole.
It's exactly what's happening with Ole. Yeah. But the difference is, I don't think that he's going to be able to win us the league. You know what I'm saying? Because I just think that we're too reliant on individuals, man. And the individuals, I just don't think that they've got it in them to do it when the pressure's really on them, innit? So I think that we're gonna, I think wherever we finish in the league this season will be where we deserve to finish, but it won't be top. I still think that Man City are gonna start to open up a gap at the top.
Okay, Curtis, same questions to you as I asked the Rants, in terms of what do you see team selection, team setup and formation, and the team tactics for this weekend? How do you think Arteta will approach the game?
I think you'll see a similar team to what played against Southampton. I think obviously Tierney will come back in at left back. It'll be interesting who he plays at right back, because I don't really want to see Hector Bellerin against Rashford. I got to be honest. I don't want to see that, but Cedric had a couple good games. I'll give him a chance at right back, man. Thomas Partey, Xhaka, the front four kind of picks itself. I think Aubameyang will probably, Arteta said in the press conference, he may not even be involved. So I think you'll see the same front four. It'll be Saka, Pepe, Smith Rowe, Lacazette. I know Rants used to say, what was it? No tactics, just vibes, innit? That's what Solskjaer's on, man.
Yeah, that's what he's on. 100.
It's a happy dressing room, man. Sometimes you can get away with that. If the talent, United have got a lot of talent in there.
Because I was going to say to you both, because obviously, Curtis, we know you have played football at a high level, professional football. I know, Rants, you played football at a high level. So my question to you is going to be like, do you think that in terms of managing clubs, especially at this level, where do you think tactics are that important, or do you think it's about allowing the players to express themselves and be happy and being in an environment where they can produce their best? In other words, do you think the tactical side of things is sometimes overrated?
I think tactics do play a part. You can have a happy dressing room to a certain point, but on certain days when you're playing against maybe Pep's Man City or Klopp's Liverpool and it gets a bit sticky, that's where the manager's got to step up with the substitutions, the tactical changes. And I think that's kind of where Ole and certain other managers fall short sometimes. I think this United team can get to a certain point, but I've always kind of felt for them to go and win the title again, to challenge for the Champions League, they need a top-level manager. I always felt Poch was kind of made for Man United. I felt like that looked like something that could have worked. So, I think sometimes tactics are a little bit overdrawn, but I think, they will play a part at certain times.
What about yourself, Rants? What's your thoughts on that?
I don't think tactics are overrated at all, bruv. I think man management, is overrated to a certain extent, for the simple fact that players are happy to do a job if they're winning, innit? And that's just how it is. When you look at Pep, when you look at Mourinho, both of them aren't great man managers. Like, loads of players have come out and said they're X, Y, Z. But the reason why they're successful is because they're more often than not, their methods work, innit? And because of that, when your methods work, players will buy into that. Like the proof's in the pudding, innit? And I just think, yeah, cool. Players will be happy if you're their mates. But if they're seeing that your methods are not working, they'll throw you under the bus, innit? Like a lot of these footballers, like there's a lot of egos involved. So a lot of these men are probably thinking, oh, you know what? They've done us here. Like I've heard Rooney come out and say even about Sir Alex Ferguson, right? Like, yo, like he got that wrong. I remember the Barcelona Champions League game. Now I'm saying where Ferguson's gone gung-ho on a little 4-4-2 thing and we got clarted, yeah? And Rooney was kind of like, well, bruv, like, do you know what I mean? It's Barcelona. Like why? Do you know what I mean? Like players will question certain things that managers do. So I think that if your players don't trust you tactically, I think it's worse, isn't it? Even if a player don't like you, but they trust your methods, they're more likely to go out and do it, man. And I just feel like if you're not good tactically, as soon as you start to lose games, you'll lose the dressing room quickly, regardless of whether they like you or not.
Okay. Can I just ask as well, what's your thoughts on our manager, Mikel Arteta at Arsenal? What do you think of him?
I think that he's a good coach. Maybe he's not the best manager, but I think that he's tactically a good coach, and I think that he just doesn't have his players at the moment. You can see what he's trying to do in it. I always say when I watch Arsenal, I think the quality is low, man. If I'm honest, when I look at some of your players, they're rubbish, innit? Like they're really rubbish.
Well, don't hold back.
Nah, bro, I'm gonna be real, innit? Like without naming names, yeah. Like it's kind of like when I look at your team, I see the shapes, yeah. Like I'm very interested in looking at what certain people do in it, and when I see the shapes that Arteta likes to play, like there's a reason why he's made you defensively a lot more stable. Is because your actual team as a unit, cohesive unit, is working better in it. But it's just not to the strength of certain players. So like Aubameyang scoring less goals, but you're conceding less goals. So it just means that the style of striker that he needs to play that system probably isn't an Aubameyang. That's all it means. Do you know what I'm saying? But when I'm looking
to come from in this game, who would you identify, if any, as a threat to you this weekend?
Honestly, bruv, like when I look at your team, it depends on who plays where in it. Like I like Saka, I think he's very good, but I also think that our fullback areas are some of our strongest areas. Do you know what I'm saying? Like Shaw's on good form at the moment, and Wan-Bissaka 1v1, yeah, nobody really gives him problems. So like when I look at that wide area, I don't really expect too much problems there. Like the only problems United could have is if the midfield gets overran, and I don't really see that happening. Like even the game that we lost, it was a pen, bro. Like, do you know what I mean? That's why I think it's gonna be a boring game. I think we're gonna see the teams just cancelling each other out, and it's either gonna be a big mistake or a moment of brilliance that's gonna separate the two teams, bro. If they get separated, I can't see an open, expansive game. Arsenal don't play like that, and we don't play like that. So I genuinely I can't see it in it. But I think your manager, I think he knows what he wants to do in it. I just think that he doesn't have the players, man. But yeah, I'm not writing him off as a coach. I think he's a decent coach. I see the shapes. I see the way players are dropping in the pivot, getting the ball off the back five or the back four, whatever he plays. Like I can see what he's trying to do and what he's coaching in it, but I just don't think that he's got the caliber of players. It's not the same when you're coaching Aguero and Mahrez and them, man, and then you come in and then, you know what I mean? It's these, man. Like,
Okay, Curtis, same question to you then. What, in reverse, obviously, what do you think of Ole and the job he's done so far at United this season?
I mean, I think he's done all right, but you know, at times I think the Champions League, you know, I don't think there's any way Man United should have got knocked out in the group stage. You know, in the league, I think, like you said, I think he's doing well in the league this season. You got to be honest. You know, I didn't expect United to be, you know, challenging for the title at this stage. You know, when you look what's happened to Lampard, you know, I think a lot of people thought Ole would have been sacked this season. So, you know, like Rants said, maybe he's actually overachieving in the Premier League. I think ultimately with Ole, though, he's got to win something this season. If he's got any chance of staying at United long term, I think even if he wins the Europa League or something, he's got to win a trophy. You know, Man United have invested heavily in that team. They've got enough quality there to be winning trophies, and you know they're going to be dangerous. We know we're in for a difficult game. You know, Rashford, Bruno, Pogba. You know, there's a lot of players there you've got to keep quiet to win the game. So it'll be a tough game, but I think Ollie's under pressure this season. I think, he's had enough time now to produce results, and I think if he doesn't win something this season, I think there'll have to be questions asked of him.
Do you think, like I do, that that the result with Man United and Sheffield United, them losing, I actually think that is not a great result for Arsenal, to be honest, because I'm slightly worried that you might see a bit of a backlash this weekend. I think that looking at some of those players that I saw the other day playing for United, a lot of them were off form, whether it was complacency or otherwise, I'm not quite sure. But I'm willing to bet that come this weekend, you're probably going to see a significantly better performance from them this weekend, which may work against us slightly. What's your thoughts on that? The potential backlash from United having been so badly defeated at home by Sheffield United. What's your thoughts on that, Curtis?
I think, Curtis, go for it, bro.
Do you know what it's like? See, on one hand, yeah, you think, okay, they're a bit of a wounded animal now, so maybe there'll be a backlash. But I think, from my point of view, I think there's some questionable personalities in that dressing room at United at times. And I don't always think that they roll their sleeves up when the going gets tough and just bounce back straight away. I feel like when United lose a game, they have a little wobble for a few games sometimes, and then they kind of find their way back to form. So I'm kind of on the opposite side. I kind of think that defeat is good for us because I think, it kind of throws their dressing room up in the air a little bit. Like, I see a lot of Man United, pundits and that having a go at Martial, and a lot of questions being asked. Then Ollie's got to figure out: do I drop this guy? Do I change my system a little bit? So I personally look at it as a little bit of an opportunity for Arsenal to kind of catch them while they're down a little bit. So,
I hear what you're saying.
Complacent, obviously, because they could come there and roll us over, which they have beat us before. But I think Arsenal need to try and grab this opportunity, man, and beat them.
I hear what you're saying, but if you look at it, we beat them earlier on in the season, and that was a catalyst for them to go on a 14-game unbeaten run. So I'm not so sure if they're that mentally fragile, they'll fall apart at the first loss. But Rants, let's hear your views on that. Do you think that, or United better than me and Curtis do you think that there's a chance of a backlash this weekend? Do you think that the players who perform so under par against Sheffield United will raise their game this weekend?
I don't think so, because we've been playing like that all season. I told you, we've just been getting away with it. Honestly, we've been playing like that all season, bro. Like what you saw against Sheffield United was the exact same performance you saw against Fulham and all these other teams, bro. But we got away with it. Do you know what I mean? Like that's just what happened. United individual players have been bailing them out, and yesterday the players just couldn't do it. Like how many times do you have to come from behind in games? Like it's embarrassing. So I don't respect the character of a lot of these players, innit? Like United go on good runs and then go on bad runs. Ever since Ollie's been there, the reason why tension builds up about his job is because we go on bad runs and then we go on good runs, then we go on bad runs. We've never like gone on like had a one wobble for a game and then continued a good run, bro. Every time we go on a bad run, it's always an extended bad run. And I mean, I don't trust a lot of these, man. Do you know what I mean? I don't trust them. I don't trust their attitude. I don't trust their bottle. There's a lot of things I don't trust about them. So I would love for these men to come out and beat Arsenal, and say, you know what, this was just an off day. But United have been playing that badly, probably for the last 3 months, bro. Like honestly, apart from like when I think the Leeds game where Leeds put it on a plate for us and we absolutely tore them apart, I think Everton away was a decent performance. Other than that, mate, like we're down in the first half, win it in the second half. Like we're getting so used to that. If we go down in the first half against Arsenal, we're not getting back in the game. You know what I mean?
I've noted from your fixtures, your 4 losses in the league have all come at home. So how do you explain that?
No, the manager said, innit, we need a Stretford End to suck the ball in, bruv, and there's no fans. That's what he said. So that's what it is, innit? Like, the thing is that United are a counter-attacking team, innit? They don't like having a lot of the ball. Yesterday, they had like nearly 80% of the ball. United like playing away from home because teams will come out and play them and they can hit them on the break. And that's why United struggle at home when people park the bus, low block football. United don't have what it takes to break down these low blocks. And when they have, it's been from the penalty spot. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
if I'm being honest, bro, like I watch my team innit? Like we're not great at dealing with teams when they give us the ball, innit? And that's just what it is. And that's why we struggle at home. And that's why I think that the football we play is not sustainable. It's not sustainable. So I'm genuinely concerned about this game because I know that Arsenal aren't an expansive football team like they used to be.
It's interesting because, Curtis, I think the same could be said for us. You look at our fixtures and we've lost a few home games as well. And it could be argued that our better performances have come away from home. Certainly the West Brom one was very impressive. The Southampton one I liked. But there's been a few like that. The Man United game where we beat them up there, that was an impressive win. So, yeah, what are you saying, man? I mean, we're in a similar boat, it would appear, that we have performed better away from home. Only this weekend, we're not away from home, we're at home. So how do you think the manager will approach it? Do you think he'll try and be a bit more expansive, or do you think he'll be, as Rants is suggesting, a lot more cautious?
No, I think he'll be cautious, and like Rant said, man, we've struggled the same against teams who, with the low block. We've been better away from home. You've got to be able to move the ball well and quickly to break down them low blocks. You see Man City, you low block against them, they'll probably still beat you 4 or 5-0 because they move the ball so quick, and they find them little gaps to open you up. We haven't got them little incisive players yet to do that. So yeah, I think we'll be cautious, man. I think Arteta will, you look at the fixtures, we've got Wolves and Aston Villa away, I think, the same week. He won't want to lose to United going into that game. I don't think a draw is the worst result for either manager, really. Even though as fans, I would really want to win the game. You could see them accepting a point each and moving on from it.
That's why I think it's going to be a dead 0-0, bro. Like, honestly. Like, because both managers will take the draw before the game. I'm telling you, my manager's not going to go there, try to win the game. You know what I mean? We had Liverpool playing Henderson and Fabinho at centre-back, and we never went for it, bro. So I don't expect us to go to Arsenal and try and roll them over. We're going to go there and say, you know what, if an opportunity presents itself, we'll take it. But other than that, I think they'll take the draw, just like they took the draw at Chelsea. They took the draw at City. You know what I mean? Against, like, the bigger teams, we just will take the 0-0, bro. Like, that's how my team play.
So it could be a bit of cat and mouse going on there.
I think it's going to be a dead game, bro. I'm going to keep it all the way. Dead, 0-0.
It's also fair to say, I think you both agree with me here, that the whole dynamic of home and away has changed during the pandemic. And with there being no fans, that's a big significant factor that has sort of dictated how some of the games have gone this season. So, teams playing at home now, you've not got the fans behind you as you would normally have. And it kind of, it's been showing in the results, hasn't it? I mean, a lot of teams this season, not just Man United and Arsenal, they are performing better away from home for that reason, So, yeah, I mean, it's a strange one. We should be talking like this because normally a game like this, man, will get the pulses racing and the adrenaline going. But Rant certainly seems to have earmarked this as to be a snooze fest. You know what I mean? What your thoughts, man?
I do think it'll be low scoring, but I'm gonna put my neck on the line. I'm gonna go for a 2-1 to Arsenal. I'm gonna go for it. We beat them earlier in the season. We've got a little bit of form. They've just lost. I'm not sure because you never know with Arsenal. We're capable of any result. That's why we are where we are in the league. If United rolled us over, I wouldn't be surprised. But I'm just gonna try and be positive and say I think if we score first, their heads might drop a little bit, United, and then maybe we can get them. But I'll go for 2-1. I'll go for 2-1.
So you go for 2-1, and you're also like Rants. So you're saying it's more likely to be an intriguing game rather than an exciting game.
I think so.
Yeah. So have you got any players that you've earmarked for this game that you're looking at, thinking that, yeah, man, this is the guy that could shine in a game like this? I mean, we saw Pepe had a good game in the week. A lot of Cedric, and obviously Saka. Where do you think our major threats are going to come from?
I mean, it's true because what Rants said earlier, you know, we've been good out wide, but their fullbacks are both pretty strong this season. You know, I'm not the biggest fan of either one of them fullbacks, but Wan-Bissaka in one-on-one situations is very good, and Luke Shaw is, to be honest, probably the best English left back this season. To be honest,
he is.
Been better than Chilwell and all them. So, you know, if Pepe's on the left playing against Wan-Bissaka, that's a hard game for him. You know, it is a hard game. Maybe Smith Rowe, if he can get into them little pockets and affect it, then maybe we can hurt them like that. But it'll be a hard game. It's that midfield battle, you know. I think, you know, you look at the game at Old Trafford, like you said, there was hardly any chances. We only won the game really because of the penalty. I think Pogba fouled. You know, Partey's going to have to handle them again because United do have quality in that midfield. You know, Pogba's a lot. You know, when we played them at their place, he wasn't playing that great. He's in form at the moment, so we've got to get hold of them in midfield. And like I said, if Bellerin's up against Rashford, he's going to have to be careful because every left winger that plays against Bellerin at the moment seems to be getting new contracts and getting man of the match. So, you know.
Rashford will cook him still, but I don't think that. I think Rashford plays from the right and Pogba plays from the left. Unless Oli does the Pogba from the right, like he done against Liverpool, but I don't think so, innit? But Bellerin's getting cooked in it regardless. That's the side of the pitch that I am confident about, innit? It's that right back, bro, cooking him. Like, we don't have a player that can't cook Bellerin, man. You know what I mean? So,
I'll tell you, I think that there's more than just your team that will cook him, man. I think most guys would be in. But Rants, from a United perspective, tell us as Arsenal fans, who have we got to watch out for this weekend? Who do you think is a significant and possibly determinant factor in your team against Arsenal this weekend?
I don't know, man. Based on the last 4 or 5, it has to be Pogba. He's been our best player for the last 2 months. You know what I mean? He's on form. Yesterday, he was the only player that didn't disgrace himself. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, everyone else I wasn't happy with. So I just think if he continues his form, I think if he controls that midfield, it will give us our best chance. It will give us.
Let me just ask you, what's your thoughts on Martial? Because he seems to be getting a lot of stick.
Yeah, he's the easy scapegoat, though. Martial is the easy scapegoat. His form is poor at the moment. I don't necessarily put that down to him. I think that when you look at Manchester United in general, our strikers aren't scoring goals. Like Bruno's got more goals, than all of our strikers combined, and literally more than 50% of those are pens. Do you know what I mean? So we're not. There's a reason why our goal difference is +10, bro. Like we're not scoring loads of goals, but our strikers, Martial gets the stick for it because Martial's body language, innit? He's not one of them blood and thunder strikers like Rashford and Cavani that run around and just blowing smoke out their ass even when they're not doing anything. Like, Martial's a smart player. He makes calculated runs. He likes to play on the half turn in the pocket, and I think a lot of British fans don't appreciate those kind of players, innit? They're called lazy and this, that, and the other. They'd rather these guys run themselves into the ground and have nothing to show for it. So Martial's always the scapegoat because of his body language. Look at him. He's not trying. He's not putting in a shift. He's not doing all these other things. And it's just, brother, it's just nonsense. He's the easy scapegoat all the time. It's always him. It's always Pogba too, because they both got that kind of like languid body, like style in it, like, and just laid back body language.
I do hear you where you're coming from in that, because I've said that about Pepe. I think a lot of the Arsenal fans get on his case. And
they're like, oh, he's sulking. That's just Pepe's style. That's how he plays.
Not every player's going to run around pumping their fists, kissing the badge, and engaging in all the histrionics. It's just the way they are as people, you know. And what you've said there about Martial can be echoed with Pepe. A lot of the Arsenal fans seem to get on his case and just straight out accuse the man of not trying just because he's not playing well. There's a difference there. You shouldn't automatically just assume a guy is not trying when he's not playing well.
Then you're questioning the guy's character.
I always hear fans come up with, oh, he turns up when he wants to. It's ridiculous. Why would a player not want to turn up? You know what I mean?
It's disrespectful, isn't it? And I just think that they're disrespecting these people's characters as human beings, innit? Like everyone's personality is different.
Yeah.
Like if he's out of form and he's not feeling confident, that's not he's not trying, or you know what I mean? Like, that's some joke thing. When I see stuff like that, you know what I mean? It shows me that a lot of these men ain't played the game and they don't understand the game. No footballer goes out there not wanting to win and that like can't be bothered. That doesn't happen. When you cross that white line, yeah, like you do your best, innit? And sometimes man's best ain't good enough. He's just not in form. He's not playing well, but neither is Rashford. Like neither is Cavani. Like, bro, most of man's team ain't playing well. You know what I mean? And
I've heard those same kind of comments. I've heard them made against Luke Shaw in the past as well. And look, this season he appears to be playing very well.
I don't know. I don't really hear that about Luke Shaw. I think Luke Shaw's criticism is more to do with his conditioning and how he looks after himself.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying? Which is questionable. But at the moment, this is the best form that I've seen from him since Van Gaal days, when Van Gaal had him running by himself to get in shape and that. Like, so I think Luke Shaw just gets complacent, innit? I think if he doesn't have competition, he's the kind of person who will choose the path of like least resistance, innit?
I know he struggled a bit when Mourinho was there, but a few of them struggled when Mourinho was there.
Mourinho didn't rate him though, because Mourinho was like, he ain't got no football brain, and like I have to walk him through games and stuff like that.
Yeah, I remember him saying that.
You know what I mean? But I just think that Mourinho didn't fancy him. I think Luke Shaw's sensitive, innit? And he needs a manager that wants to be his friend, innit? And I think that Solskjaer does that very well. So I think he's confident now, he's happy, and you're seeing that, innit? But I think he's just sensitive. You can tell, innit? Like he gets easily rumbled, and I think Solskjaer's dealt with him well.
Okay, thanks. Well, listen, we're coming to that moment in the show where we're going to have to round it up and get your guys' predictions. So I think we know what Rants is going to say because he's alluded to it a few times in the show. But for the record, I'm going to ask you again, Rants. So what do you think the score will be this week?
I think it's going to be a stinky 0-0, bro.
But would you take that then or what?
Yeah, no, it's going to be a stinky 0-0. I wouldn't take that. I don't want it 0-0. But it's going to be a stinky 0-0. Like,
if you come out of there with a draw, would you be, you know what, I'll take that? Or
no, I'll be fuming with a draw because I don't think that we have room to maneuver now in this thing. We're talking about like challenging for the title. And honestly, if we drop another 2 points, yeah, like I don't know, if the results don't go our way, we could be outside the top 4, I'm sure, like by the end of that day. And you know what? Yeah, it's oh man, it's risky business if we're outside that, because I don't see how we get back in. Like I genuinely think that the best way for us to have a good finish to the season is to consistently keep up the form that we're in. Because this is not the right time to be slipping. You know what I'm saying? This is when you're meant to kick on if you're a serious team. This ain't the right time to have a blip going into February.
Yeah.
Okay. And with Curtis, I get the impression that you're exuding a little bit more confidence about the game than Rants is. But for the record, same question to you. What do you think the result will be this weekend?
I mean, more in hope than expectation. I'm saying 2-1 to Arsenal, because to me, we've got to win that game. You know, we're what, 8th, 9th in the league. If we've got any hope of clawing back a top 6, top 4 a push, we got to win this game. You know, United have just been beat. Their confidence is low. They'll be questioning themselves, questions of Ollie. If Ollie loses another game here back to back, all of a sudden he's in a mini crisis there, you know? So to me, if you're Arsenal, you got to win the game. If you got anything about you, got to win it. If we don't win it, to me, it's not a good enough result. I think we need to win. So I'm going for 2-1.
2-1, okay.
Yeah, if we lose, Ollie's in some serious pressure out of nowhere. You know them, man. That's why football was mad.
I know it. It's mad.
All the wins that we've been on, yeah, and the runs, we ain't lost since we lost to you lot. And if he loses this game, all of a sudden, yeah, there's gonna be a massive meltdown, because that's what football fans are like. Mad reactionary, bro.
Yeah. I'm telling you.
I think that's a very true thing you've just said there. Right, okay. Thanks for that, guys. My prediction is I'm cautiously leaning towards Arsenal in what I think will be a very hard-fought and well-contested game. I must admit, I am worried about the backlash, because I'm looking at United's team and they've got some excellent players there, and I don't see them being as poor again as they were against Sheffield United, and that worries me. And you've got the likes of Pogba and Bruno and Rashford and Cavani, and these guys are big names, man, and they're not going to want to suffer 2 defeats in a row, especially to Arsenal. long-time rivals. You know what I mean? It's a massive game. So I'm cautiously optimistic. Let's put it out. I'll go for a 2-1 because I would do, wouldn't I? But yeah, I'm not wholly confident. Put that way. But listen, man, we're coming to the end of the show, man. It's been fantastic listening to your guys' honest and forthright opinions. Rants, my man. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on, bro.
Good to be here, man. Good to be here.
Yeah, man, I've enjoyed it, man. Tell the people where they can find you, right? Your social media stuff.
Yeah, just at Rants and Bants on all the social media platforms, YouTube, Instagram. Really, I'm not really on Twitter too much these days, but yeah, it's still there.
And Curtis, yourself, let the people know where they can find you as usual, bro.
Yeah, man. Curtis Shaw TV, daily uploads, man. I'm there, man.
Okay. Well, thanks everybody for tuning into the show. Hope you've enjoyed it. I certainly have. Like I said, man, Rants turned up and he was on smoke as usual, and we appreciate that. You know what I mean? He delivered, man. We knew he was going to speak his truth, and that's exactly what he did. So people out there, please let us know what you thought of what we spoke about on the show today. Is it going to be a repeat or a revenge? I mean, we got the win early in the season. Will we win again, or will United find it within themselves to bounce back with a good performance? So let us know what you think. Keep yourselves well, healthy, COVID-free, wear those masks, do everything we can to get through this pandemic. And like, share, subscribe. And we'll see you next week. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
It's Robbie here from AFTV. Don't forget to check out AFTV on Flick for all the latest transfer rumours, for all the information on Arsenal, for all the information on AFTV. You can check me there for Q&As on a regular basis. The link is in the description. It is free to download. Download it right now.